Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rinaldi, I wanted to hear your perspective on the effects that some of these models may have on stakeholders. I'm sure you know that the CEO of the privatized air navigation service provider in Ireland remarked last week that the tendency in some countries is to favor commercial flights over non-commercial flights and large aircraft over small aircraft as part of the natural selection process. Do you see this as a potential risk in the different models that have been talked about today?
Thank you, sir. Great question. We've had a lot of conversations around first come, first serve is what we currently work under today. Obviously, if we have a small moving Cessna and a fast jet behind them, we sidestep them out and bring the Cessna back in on the approach. But there's a lot of talk around best equipped, best serve as we move towards next-gen technology. And it would be, we would be against any type of operation that would prohibit or shrink the aviation system. Our future aviators are out there at these small-level facilities, and that's where our pilots and our controllers are going to come from.
And what about the, do you have any concerns of moving away from the current revenue structure?
Well, I think as I said in my opening, the current revenue structure is broken. 23 extensions of the last FAA reauthorization bill, partial shutdowns of the FAA, full shutdown of the government, and sequester. It's not conducive for us to modernize our system, run our day-to-day critical operation, and at the same time grow aviation in this country, which is an economic engine. I think we actually have to, find a predictable, stable funding system. That's our main problem. That as we move forward, a predictable, stable funding system so that we can enhance the national airspace system and continue to be the world leader.
I think we all can agree with that. We want to make sure that we don't have any detrimental effects on any portions of the of aviation. I wanted to ask Mr. Fuller, you outlined a government corporation concept, which I think goes beyond what a lot of others are talking about here in sort of taking in everything, all of the functions right now from the FAA. I have concerns that this government corporation could move to save money by possibly consolidating facilities or mothballing equipment as we move to a satellite-based system, which could harm some of the smaller airports. And if it does have this corporation does take over the regulatory and certification, I'm concerned that this would delay fixing the regulatory and certification structure that seems to have a hard time keeping pace with the rapidly increasing changes that are occurring. So it does concern me that this will happen. Can this government corporation do these things in ways that the current structure seems to have a difficult time with, or don't you see the possibility of having a detrimental impact on these functions, even slowing them down even more and perhaps compromising safety?
So you raised several very important questions. First, I want to say that I hope that people understood that the importance of the moment in time, and Mr. Parker, by talking about the need for the community to collaborate, not penalize one segment over another, I think is exactly why some of us are optimistic that a group of stakeholders could come together, much like the NextGen group has done the NAC has done for NextGen. But a group of stakeholders could come together and make these decisions in a rational way, so that the way in which you collect money, which honestly in 6 months I don't think you can solve, I think a corporation could address those issues with the stakeholders present. I think the trauma that's caused to some in the regulatory certification process, the dysfunctionality that's been referred to, I think can be solved, again, by a group of stakeholders governing, hiring a CEO administrator, and having the ability to fire them, to set the metrics, to set the goals. I think that's precisely the way in which you would begin to change the culture in this bureaucracy. It's a process that the administrator has started, but continuing to stay within the structure that involves DOT, OMB, the White House, the Congress, It's very difficult. So for all the reasons stated that ATO could be improved by this group of collaborative stakeholders, I think you would be more successful addressing the certification and regulatory side as well with a single corporation.
Well, I have concerns. Obviously, there are issues that need to be dealt with, and it would be great if it worked out in the way that you described. I have concerns about how exactly this would be structured and if it really would fulfill these functions in such an efficient manner as you state here. But I'm over time, so I yield.
It is why we need more dialogue on this to refine it, and we look forward to continuing that process.